Howdy guys, it's Greg from dearblogger.org. Now, I was at the gym today, just doing my thing, when I encountered a problem. What I actually encountered was a chap who I've been trying to do business with now for a few months. And he's like, so do you got a website? And I'm like, sure, of course I do. So I pull out the phone, all excited to show him the website, and it looks horrible. So I made toastybrew.com. What is toastybrew.com? Well, it's a mobile-friendly WordPress website that'll look great at home, the gym, or on any screen. And we're going to build it right here for about the cost of a cup of coffee per month. That's right, save a coffee, get a website. To prove to you that it looks better on mobile than that silly background of yours, I want you to go here on your phone, like now. Or you could just drag things in so you can see what Toasty Brew would look like on an iPad or a BlackBerry. I know what you're thinking. Is this going to be difficult? Well, do I know how to lift weights or count time? This website is grande because it's made with WordPress.org, the same platform used by those Starbucks sippers over at Forbes, Sony, and the New York Times. I'm not talking about some drag and drop blog either. I'm talking about a website with an image slider, a blog, a Google ad, a drop-down menu, and even those sleek little icons you'd see on Facebook to tell people what your website's all about. I'll even top it off with a little code at the end too, because do you really want to be dependent on Bill Gates to build your website? Your computer savvy friend will be piping hot with envy when you're done. Listen, we all want people to see our work and actually spend some time with it. So show them with a customizable portfolio section like this. That's going to look a whole lot cooler once you start scooping some more of your best content into it. So stop putting the world to sleep with boring content, and stop putting off your amazing website idea. This is toastybrew.com, and your dreams just got a whole lot closer.
Hi guys, it's Greg from dearblogger.org.
So that's what we're going to build here in the next 25 to 30 minutes. Hope you'll stick around, and I hope you can walk away with a really cool website that you can show your friends at the gym or really anywhere where you don't have your computer, and it'll look great. So let's take a look. Alright, I think it's time to start building. And the first question you might have before we build our mobile website is, can we use something like Blogger or Tumblr or Weebly or one of the other guys to build this website? This is something family and friends ask me all the time, and my answer is no. These places are bad for at least a few reasons. The first one is that you don't own the domain name. You get a domain name with something like .blogspot or .tumblr or something like that in it, and it looks really goofy and it's hard to pass off in conversation. The second reason is you don't own the site itself. It can be taken down at any time and all your hard work will vanish, which is pretty sad. And the third reason is, in most cases you can't post advertisements, and you deserve to be able to earn money in whatever way you want from your new website. So what we are going to use is a platform where I run all my sites, and it's called WordPress. When I say WordPress in this video, I'll be referring to WordPress.org, which is the full version. Now, at least what I didn't realize at first is that a WordPress blog can be turned into almost any kind of website you want. And to prove that to you, we're going to jump over to the WordPress.org showcase. And we're going to look at all the sites that are choosing WordPress recently and over time for their websites. I like going into the people section and seeing if there's people creating WordPress sites that I recognize, like Snoop Dogg, or maybe Tim Ferriss, and maybe some other ones too, if we were to click on something like business. But either way, that's the little secret, that WordPress is what a lot of companies are using for their websites. I think it's now taking over almost 20% of the web, so it's a pretty good skill to know. Not bad. To get WordPress on our new website, we have to do something you've probably heard of called self-hosting. Now what this is just getting a domain name, like our address on the web, something like google.com or facebook.com, and then getting a little bit of hosting space, which is basically just virtual storage space where we put our website and people can go to visit everything. You could think of hosting like a cubby back in grade school where you put all your stuff. Or you could think of it like a virtual computer that's online 24/7. The good thing is, I know a place to get it really cheap, and we can get our domain and hosting at the same place. And that would be hostgator.com. Now, I've had a few negative experiences with other web hosts, and I won't name them, but it sort of made me start thinking that this was all really tough and code intensive, and it was really just them. And then I found HostGator, where I now host all my websites. There are a few cool things about HostGator worth mentioning. They're the largest host currently, with 9 million domains, and when you're looking at this, that number might be bigger. They also have a live chat you can click on, where a person will literally sit at their computer with you 24/7 as long as you want to fix any issue. For example, one time I wanted to literally change my domain name from one domain name to a completely different one, but have the same website. And it was a tricky process, but they sat with me the whole time and we figured it out. And at the end, they told me the next time they would be online working so that I could find that specific person if I wanted. And I always thought support companies should do something like that. To start using HostGator, and they really do offer a lot of services, but we just want to use their hosting plans. So click on this yellow button. Once you do that, you'll be able to choose a hosting plan. This will be basically how you pay for things and how it's all set up. And they're pretty similar, with the more expensive one being over here. And what I like doing is the baby plan, and that's because that gives us unlimited domains. If you wanted to put your friend's website on your hosting account, or your family's, or just host a lot of companies and become an entrepreneur. The pricing, at least I think, is extremely cheap. It gets cheaper over time, but even the monthly cost isn't that bad. I would compare this monthly cost to maybe a sandwich or something like a pair of socks I would buy, and I'm pretty happy spending that money on a website. I think it's pretty awesome, at least. So we're going to get the baby plan monthly so we can have unlimited domains. And then just click order now. Here we are now in the order wizard. And we want to register a new domain name because we don't have one yet. If you already got one on GoDaddy or something, just click that button and enter it right here. The site I've sort of been envisioning in the back of my head is a coffee site, and it's called toastybrew.com. And the reason I think it'd be cool is Toasty Brew could be a site all about coffee photographs that maybe a photographer would run, or it could be just any other portfolio site that someone thought would sound cooler than something like their name, gregnarayan.com, which can be kind of standard. Or it could even be a whole coffee joint, like your favorite coffee place around the corner. And what HostGator does when you type this in is they ping the databases over at GoDaddy and see if this domain name is available for you. So we got the green light, and we're a go. But if you chose something like maybe facebook.com, you'd get a big red light. So go ahead and pop in the domain name and let's get this order taken care of. It's a lot like any other purchase you'd make on somewhere like Amazon.com, but we'll make sure all the details check out. Package type's looking good, as is billing cycle. We're going to try it out for 1 month. We'll pick a username quick and a security pin. And then the next step is to enter all the billing information, and you can pay with credit card or PayPal. Once we do that, we'll want to uncheck all the add-ons. I bet HostGator makes some money off of these, but I'm here to tell you that you don't need any of these for your site to run fine. So our price right now includes the domain name at $12.95, which is standard, and the hosting plan for $7.96 a month. But to make it even better, I'm going to show you how to get this hosting plan for virtually nothing. Go ahead and hit the keyboard and type in coffee money, and then just click away from it, and you'll see that we can get the hosting plan for 1 penny. How about that? It looks like we got that microphone fixed, so let's continue. HostGator will send you an email that looks just like this, called Your Account Info. Open it up, and we'll want to save this forever. For now, because we want to start building our website quickly, just copy this password and remember your username, and then click on this link. This will open up the screen to our HostGator control panel, where we won't have to go too often, but it's nice to get familiar with. Just click on Login, and once you do that, you'll be brought right here. No thanks. There's some cool stuff to see here, like we get $100 towards AdWords, and obviously a WordPress installer, and some other tools like email accounts and some other stuff. And the best way to get familiar, of course, is just to play around. For now, let's click on Quick Install and get our copy of WordPress ready to go. Once you do that, hit WordPress. And we're going to hit Continue. Of course, after reading the cute little note from HostGator. You can leave this part blank, but you'd write something like blog if we wanted to install WordPress on our domainname.com/blog, and then leave our domain name for a landing page or a splash page or something like that. Now it's time to hit Install Now, and hopefully things go smoothly. Congratulations! We now have a WordPress website, aka a WordPress blog, because really it starts in the default blog format, which will change in a second. This is our admin link that'll take us to the login page, and we get another goofy password. I hope this part alone gave you confidence that setting up WordPress on self-hosted isn't too hard at all. Let's give it a go. Well, our site's not quite ready yet, so it's a good time to take a break and maybe go outside or get a bite to eat and have some fun. And we'll return in about 30 minutes to set up the website. Well, it only took WordPress about 15 minutes to get installed on our new HostGator hosting, but at least it was enough time for me to edit the video a little bit and make a grilled cheese sandwich. So why don't we log in now and start designing the blog. We also get a link in our email. So let's copy the password. We're going to bookmark this page. This will always be our login to our new responsive website. And how about a little of this? Welcome to WordPress. This is the new site, and if we look at it, we'll see the default blog format that WordPress starts people with. Here we have the WordPress homepage with the 2014 theme. And if we resize the browser, we can actually see that this is already a responsive website. And if this is the first time you're seeing the features, it's no problem at all. It basically means that the site will sort of adjust. See how the sidebar disappears? The site will adjust in several different ways depending on what the screen size is currently at. So our work here really could be done, and you're welcome to take this WordPress website any direction you want. But of course, there's a lot more to come. Whoops. I'm gonna do a couple housekeeping issues, so follow along if you don't mind. This will help our site run a lot smoothly in the future. So first we're going to add a new plugin. This particular one is my favorite plugin, and I've let a lot of people know that already. The cool thing is you can install plugins inline right through the WordPress dashboard. So this is the one I want, and it's going to help us make really nice URLs so they're not crazy and messy with lots of symbols like this. We'll click install now and then OK. Next, go to Settings, General, and we're going to click right here and give ourselves a complete domain name. Make sure these two match up. You wouldn't want it to look like that. And just for the sake of formality, sometimes we have to log in when we make a significant change to the website. Lastly, before we really start having fun, we're going to change our password. And while we're at it, let's make the background something a little more pleasant, like coffee. That sounds about right. Alright, housekeeping issues done. Let's set up a new theme. To get this theme, we're going to head over to a place called themejunkie.com. These guys aren't that big of a deal, They're actually one of the smallest theme retailers, but because they're smaller, it means they really try hard, and I like that. They have a great forum, kind of like HostGator, where someone's always around to help out, and the pricing's reasonable. There's absolutely no reason you should be paying more than about $50 for the way your website looks. And you can get all of the themes from Theme Junkie for $39. Of course, I've already got them, so I'm going to go ahead and download mine right away. This theme is called Company, and to download it, you would just need to sign up for Theme Junkie, fill out a few pieces of information, make your payment, and then find this link and click on the floppy disk. And our theme will pop in right here. I suppose it's worth noting that the WordPress site we made is pretty valuable on its own. If you had a developer do it and hired them out, you would probably spend about $500 minimum just for the initial site build. And you'd have to go ahead and get on the phone and probably go out and meet someone and get a coffee and negotiate. And who really has time for any of that? So hopefully I saved you a bunch of time. Now that we downloaded the theme, we can go over to Appearance, Themes. And there's a lot of good options, actually hundreds, maybe thousands of themes, several free ones that you could find. But since we're going to use Company, and I'm really hoping it's a good investment, I think it's a pretty reasonable move to spend a little bit of money on a design for a site that itself will hopefully make you money or get you business. Just hit upload, and now it's time to find Company. There she is. We may even need to take a break because my internet's being so slow. For now, let's activate. And let's see what we got ourselves. Probably won't look too special because we don't have any content yet. But what we do have is a premium theme that's going to get filled in pretty nicely. A WordPress theme and a premium WordPress theme is nice for a few reasons. One, it works. All these lines you see and the borders and the styling are all perfectly in place and won't change. If you hired a developer to build this, you'd have to worry that some widths might be off, or that things might not be aligned, or that they didn't work when you click them. The second thing is, you get this nice dashboard where you can literally control and edit everything. You get plenty of options and plenty of features, all customizable, right here from your control panel. And did I mention lastly that you can edit everything? So literally everything from the colors to the fonts to background colors and borders, or just deleting entire features or removing features. You can do it all. So let's walk through and build our responsive website together. First, I'm going to upload some images to the website. On the desktop, I made a folder just for this website. And these are all different pictures of coffee. Holding Control, I'm going to select all of them and click Enter. And we'll see they all upload right to our hosting. This might take a little while, so while it's happening, why don't we make a menu that can go right up here. To do that, we're going to add some new pages. Now I'm going to make a variety of pages, and then we can decide if we want to keep them or delete them later on. And we're going to select a different page format over here. These will dictate how the page looks, and you'll have to play around with them a little bit, but we'll try out a bunch right now. Let's make our URL pretty clean and click publish. If we go back to the site's homepage, we'll see that new page appeared right here. So let's make a few more. And we can put content in them in a moment. Now, I actually asked viewers on my past videos whether they wanted more explanation of WordPress and how to set things up or less, and the response, interestingly enough, was somewhere in between. So I'll try to hit that right here and maybe go a little overboard with explanation. Let's keep our pages looking pretty consistent. And let's see all the ones we made. To delete a page, just click trash. Now let's make an official menu. So we'll go to Appearance, Menus. And we'll call our menu, and maybe we'll drag these things around a little bit, like that, and then click Create Menu. We have to select one of these to decide where the menu actually goes, because this actually isn't a menu, it's just pages populating this header space. Looking good. Now that those images are uploaded, why don't we put a few of them on the website to display our work? We're going to do that through portfolio items. Now, portfolio items, mini features, and blog posts will all go on the homepage. And you'll see that in 1 second. But we'll start with portfolio items. The company theme lets you set up a gallery on each portfolio if you want. So might as well start out really strong and do that. Click over here and then Media Library. And we can add a few pictures of coffee splashing. And one more. Boom. You can see an image won't show up here if it's already been added to the gallery, because we probably don't want to add it twice. And we can even caption them, saying something like splash or grass splash, or maybe brittle cookies, and then we'll save. Cool. So this gallery, or this portfolio rather, needs a featured image which goes on the homepage, and we'll choose grass splash. It also needs a title. And along with the title, a permalink. So we'll keep those the same, which is always a good idea. To put some text in there, we're gonna get some standard text, and most people will get something called lorem ipsum, but that's kind of boring. So why don't we get coffee ipsum? Click on the blue link. Alright. Well, let's see here. We can make a large paragraph, and we can size our paragraph, and we can generate it. And then I'm just going to take some of this interesting coffee lingo and put it in our new portfolio item. Now let's see how that looks when we publish. Click on the logo to refresh the whole page, and it popped in right there. Not bad. So why don't we go ahead and do that a few more times. You'll notice I left out with and my there because sometimes you don't need these extra words within the URL. That looks better. Why don't we add some blog posts as well? Or you might want to include more words here than in the title, and that's perfectly fine too. But we should have some categories for our posts. So let's call this one Love, and then publish. And then we'll do that a couple more times. Again, the featured image is what goes on the homepage. Again, a new category. That should do it. And publish. Oops, we forgot one thing there. But WordPress took care of it for us. And we'll make one more post as well. Looks like we might have used all our images, but that's no problem. We'll just, well, we'll leave room for more posts. That's always a good thing. Cool. Well, things are coming together a little bit, but why don't we get rid of this text? To do that, and to do a lot of things here, we'll go to Company Theme Options, and then we'll try to write something rather interesting. Click on Navigation, and then on Layout. So with this button, we can actually direct people to one of our pages, and I want to direct them to our projects page. So I'm going to change that link and write View My Portfolio, which will change the link text. And then I'll write something right here. That'll go ahead and change this right here. But I also want to change this. So we'll move on down here, and we'll leave that link the same. And we're going to change this part at the bottom as well, because I don't think we've had this many customers yet, and that actually is this part right here. I'll make it, 14 sounds good. I'm going to change that to brands, and you'll see why in just a second. But first, let's save settings, and then refresh. So things are coming together. It's getting to the point where I really want a logo. So why don't we just make one? To do that, we're going to need some icons first. So let's check out dry icons, which are 100%, well, the ones we're going to use are free. I'm going to do a quick search for, you guessed it, and then grab the stickers, because those look cool. And I'll get the whole set, because that gives us some other neat icons. If you're using this for a business, you should definitely read this section, but we're just making an educational video, so we can go right ahead and download. Let's show it in the Finder, and then unzip it, and then I'm actually going to copy it and move this to Toasty Roasty. Keep everything in the same place. Great. Now I'd like to make a logo using one of these. So I'm going to go to pixlr.com. Pixlr is a great free tool on the web, kind of like Photoshop, but a little bit more straightforward. And I'm going to go to the editor. Let's open an image. And I think I want something along the lines of coffee. Now let's make our canvas bigger. That should do it. And let's put some text in there. Maybe a little bigger. And a better font. Choosing fonts is always impossible. So for now, I'll settle on this one, which I'm fond of, and we could always change it later. Let's move that over a little. And why don't we make that the same color as the sticker? How about that? So we'll grab this and this. Grab that color button and move our palette over, and then let's grab something a little darker like that. Cool. Alright, let's save our logo. Just gonna call it logo, and I'm going to put it on the desktop. Then I can find it and put it with our other stuff. Now it's time to upload the logo. So to do that, we want to go to General within Company and delete the current logo, and then upload. There we are. And we're going to copy the link and then just hit save all changes and X. So paste that link right there, and I'm also going to paste it in the footer, and I'm going to hit save settings. Let's refresh. Great. One problem, our logo seems to be going down into this section where our features will go, which creates this little conflict with our search bar. And we don't want that at all. So we have to write our first little piece of code, which is pretty easy. We're just going to make our header bigger, like that. If you know any name of a section, like footer or something more specific, you can just assign a height or a color or a width or a border or anything within this little box, which is really convenient for changing things around the website. I forgot one thing, which is to include a £sign in front of header, like that. That should do it. Cool. Time to make a drop down. So I went ahead and put some extra links in here that go to each one of our portfolio items, but it looks like when we click on them it goes to a broken link, which is weird, but not to worry. Let's go over here to settings and then permalinks, and let's try to fix that. So I'm going to click on custom, and then when I save changes, I'll effectively be refreshing our permalink structure. Let's see if that did it. Not bad. So that just shows how if anything breaks or seems to break around your website, you're so fine it's not even funny, because there's always a solution, and either I can find it or you can find it, or someone else in WordPress has already found it. So let's get back to that drop down. Hop over to menus, and to assign items to a drop down menu, you just pull them like that and basically indent them. And voila. There's a bunch of items within the portfolio that you can edit, like date and client and this little launch project link, but we'll leave that for later. And if you have any questions on that, just drop a comment right now and I'll tell you how to change it and what to put in there. I'm going to make use of those icons and set up some features right here and some brand testimonials right here. Before I do that, I'm going to figure out our layer slider, which is possibly the coolest item that this theme allows. And install. Uh-oh. Well, another slight roadblock. it looks like we can't install the plugin on our own because it's a pretty robust plugin and it actually just takes up a little bit of space. But because we want it, and I know we can get it, I'm going to make use of HostGator's chat. To get on chat, and this is kind of a cool little addition to the video, just pop in your name and what you're asking about, and then of course the domain name. And we are a customer because we just bought hosting. And I like being pretty descriptive right there. And we'll skip this. Let's get back to those icons. We're going to set some up in features. To get our icons into the features, the easiest thing to do is going to be like we did with our pictures, to upload them all to our media library. Generally want big files. And we have a lot to choose from. You can really write whatever you want here. That should do it. And I'll publish. I think WordPress will fill us in right there. Great. Well, it added a feature, so I'm gonna get rid of that. In general, Google likes simple, so when you're making your URLs, which are also called permalinks, you want to stick to really simple keywords and not overdo it. Let's see, what other image should we add? Maybe the full star. Well, looks like we could use one more feature over here. So how about a different color with the target? Cool. We're getting pretty used to our new post, new feature, new portfolio editor. And the target could be called Hit the Target. Generally good to keep your slogans positive and confident. So new features you add will come in over here, and old ones will be over here. And the same goes for this stuff. I want to get our social media icons as they should be. So we'll go down here and we're going to get rid of this one and this one. And I'll put in my Twitter. You should definitely ask me any questions you have about websites or blogging on Twitter. And you should like the Facebook page I run for more information on web tips, including cool stuff like search engine stuff and earnings and general design tips. I also want to point out that when you click on blog, it'll bring up this nice display with all of your posts, and those have social media share buttons on them as well, so people can share them in line right with your content. And this page, you know what, is looking a little dry, so why don't we add a background? To do that, I'm going to go back to our custom CSS and write simply body, background, this is one of our biggest images, which is good. And you can just throw that in right over the ... And then let's see what happens when we save settings. Not bad. So our blog background now has this cool image of coffee. And it looks like the image doubled, but that's not a problem for now. I just remembered the code to make our image not do that repeat. And I'm going to paste that in right within the bracket for body. So feel free to pause the video and copy that too. There we go. So I have a little checklist for us to use, and these are all just little things that will help make the site really come together. And might as well just start at the top. So the first thing is that this mobile menu area in the header, you'll see if I shrink the site to a responsive layout, this little button kind of hangs out up top. So let's move that. To do that, we're going to head over to the dashboard and then click on Company and General. I should have mentioned before that this tab is where most of the editing goes on. Like, we changed the logo and the footer logo here, and we'll make a bunch of changes in Quick CSS. The Quick CSS section is kind of like a sandbox for editing your site. So whereas all the code actually lives over here in Appearance Editor, these are all the files that make our WordPress website. Over here we can test out different pieces of CSS code and they'll overwrite what's over here. But there's no harm done really, because if you delete anything like the header portion that we edited or the body background, then things will just revert back to the default layout, which is over here. So it's really harmless and a really good way of learning a little bit of CSS, because there's really no risk. So I already know a couple little selectors, they're called, so I'm going to go ahead and write those in. Button nav right refers to the menu button that we saw up here, and I'm going to set a margin so that it'll have more space from the top of the blog. Definitely don't worry if some of this looks goofy. It definitely does at first, and it did for me, but a lot of it is pretty much straightforward English, and I think you'll get the hang of it if you play around a little bit. So we have to hit Save Changes. So let's refresh and see what happens to this menu button. Pretty cool. So if someone's on a tablet or an iPhone, they'll see the menu button more clearly right here. And it doesn't overlap with our logo. For this task on our checklist, you could download the Simple Social Icons plugin. But we'll leave it as is for now because this fits pretty well with our theme. And in my opinion, people go overboard with social media icons at times when it's good to have a little bit of subtlety and not so much of a in-your-face kind of social experience on a website. So moving on, we want to delete the post that WordPress came with, which is the standard Hello World post, and then we'll replace that with a post of our own. So let's go to posts, and this is the one we want to delete. Hit trash, and then let's create a new one which will fill in right over here. And before we choose the title, let's grab an image for this post, and we want to be in Toasty Roasty and grab Turkish coffee. So these are images I've gotten from Google Images, and if you are having a company site, you'll want to use either Google's copyright free images, or perhaps look into some other sort of library like Creative Commons. But for now, Google Images are just fine. And that looks pretty good. And then for the text, I'm gonna open up our other posts and just steal some of the coffee ipsum. And one permalink right here. And we'll throw a category in. We'll call this one Travel Coffee. And once we check that, publish. Perfect. Now that that's in there nicely, we can move on. And you'll also note that we get a nice little date over here. Our WordPress theme assigns a date that indicates when the post was published, which I think is a cool little feature. Adds a nice texture to the image. So these are done, and we need some portfolio categories, which will help organize this page right here. See how we have no categories right now, so let's change that right away. If we go to portfolio items and then edit, we'll be able to choose a portfolio type, aka a category, just like we do with the blog posts. So let's add a new one for coffee with my paper, and we'll call this one home living. And update. And then we'll do that for our other portfolio items as well, just with a different category. As you start to put more and more of your work in here, maybe it's photographs or different items you've physically created, like coffee mugs or coffee beans, then you might have more categories coming into play, and there'll be some overlap. Like you might assign one category to 4 or 5 different items, which is perfectly fine. So we'll say indoors for this one. And update. And every time you make a category, WordPress stores it in your dashboard over here. So you can always see which categories you have and edit them and delete them or add new ones. I believe we need one more category for grass splash, and you'll see it fills in right here. So given we have indoors, how about we just do outdoors? Perfect. That was pretty easy. So if we refresh our projects page, those should show up right over here. And the cool thing about this theme is that when we click here or here or here, you'll see that our new responsive site pulls in only which categories match what we want to see. What's next? This one should be easy. We need a contact form email, and that'll be the email that a message gets sent to when someone lands on the site and gets sold on what we're doing and wants to send us a message right here. So we have to tell WordPress what email that should go to, and this is super easy. Just fill that in company general right here in contact form email. So we'll use the email that I used to set up the site and hit save changes. We can even test that out, and maybe an email would look like that, and a message would say something like, "Hi, love your site, let's work together." So let's test this out. You get a nice confirmation message right here, or the user would rather, because that would be someone who's on your site. And then if we open up my email, we'll see contact form delivered this message right here, which is pretty cool. And the email goes through instantly. There's no delay or anything confusing like that. While we're on the contact page, why don't we style it out a little bit as well with a message. And that message will come in right here, right above the form. Let's also note that the template option right here is what dictates how the page looks. So we've chosen different ones, if you remember. For portfolio, we chose one of these, and then contact form is this one. Default template would just look like a blog, and in fact this blog option, which we won't change it to here, but blog option is what displays all the blog posts like this. So this page attributes template section is one really nice feature of Theme Junkie's themes. Not every WordPress theme will come with this, but typically the premium ones will, and it's a nice feature because you can give people a lot of different pages to look at and set a lot of different features pretty easily without really coding a page or manually adding features or anything like that. If we wanted to actually code these buttons in and set these posts up to display at this width and right next to each other, that would all be a significant amount of work. So basically our premium theme saves us that work, and I'm really thankful for that. Moving along, we want to set something that will appear if we click on our home page. We want to set some text that will come in right here in the browser tab. That's really easy. Just go to Settings, General, and we'll fill in a tagline right here. So how about my coffee portfolio site? Save changes, and WordPress will pull that in right here. And if there's less tabs open, of course, you'll be able to see more of the description. Not bad. The next thing we need to edit are our features. They're really looking a little bit too big, and that's because we chose the 256 pixel by 256 pixel images that we downloaded from dryicons.com. And a good example is over at facebook.com. So we're creating basically little images like this. So obviously this little icon doesn't really say a ton about sharing, but when you see an icon next to a message, there's a lot of different psychological benefits, and it really gets a message across to a user and looks more user friendly. So we need our images to start looking a little bit more like this. To do that, it should be a quick fix. I'm just going to make them all smaller. And then we're going to get rid of this one. So let's hop over to theme options again and head over to our custom quick CSS section. And again, I already know the selector off the top of my head. But if you need to figure out any items for the custom CSS section, a really cool part about WordPress is the code is so clean and clearly organized that you can right click and choose inspect element, and you'll get this little box here where we can basically hover over to see exactly which part of the site is called what. So you can see a little arrow tells us exactly what's going on, and it'll highlight the section that we might want to edit. In this case, we're just going to edit a feature block, of which there are 4 of them, and we want to edit the image within there. So that will look like, and I'm going to set a new height of 25% and a new width of 25%. And then I'll just save. So now our feature images are looking more like Facebook, which should help users really identify with them. Let's get rid of that cradle mountain. So we'll just edit this one. We don't need to create a new feature, we can just edit the existing one. And let's change it up completely. In this case, I want to replace it with the green flag. So I'll paste the image URL in here and call it home base. And I'm going to write a little message. And it looks like home base is actually 2 words. My fault. Now that we hit update, we'll see that our new feature image comes in right here. Not bad. So lastly, with the features, you might notice that if we click read more, the nice blue button that pops up, we get this empty page. And that's just because we haven't created a page for all the features. So let's make that right now. We'll just call it features, and then go over back here to our template section, and we'll see that there's a conveniently made template for features. And that should do it. With our new page published, we'll just need to add it to the menu. So let's go back to Appearances menu and pull in the new page that we just made. Should look good right there. Perfect. Now if we click features, we'll get a nice list of all the different items, or rather services, that characterize our site. And of course, you might want to edit these a little more so they make sense regarding your website and the whole concept that you're going with. Alright, now that we have our feature boxes looking how we want, let's add an image slider
and that's going to be the moving image gallery, and we're going to put that in right here in this region. After we do that, we're going to add some testimonials to show how people who have actually used the site, what they think of it, how they review it. After we do that, we'll style out the copyright section and personalize that, which is in the footer area of the website. Then we're going to add an Adsense ad so you can try monetization and do a couple more things. To set up the image slider, click over back to the dashboard, and let's scroll down to Layer Slider WP. Now, if you don't have this button, this piece of functionality in the dashboard, then you'll need to install the plugin. And if you can't install it, like we saw before when we got that error message, then you need to contact HostGator support through their homepage, and you need to ask them to whitelist the Layer Slider WP plugin for you. Just tell them that you have the premium company theme and that you need to whitelist a plugin so you can start using it. That's what I did, and they set up the plugin, and now I'm all set to go ahead and make a slider. So click on Layer Slider WP, and then we're going to add new. There's obviously a ton of settings in here that we can play around with later, but let's get a basic slider up for the moment so that you can see how it works. First, we're going to set a width, and I'm going to go with 1000 and 450 for the height. And you don't need to write in that px. The website knows that it's in pixels. We'll keep it on responsive, and we'll make the slider full width. And we also have to name it, of course. I'll call it Home Slider. Right here, we can change the skin, which is going to be the border, and the controls that let people click to scroll through, and how that all looks. And we'll do that in a moment. Let's add some images to the slider. So click on Slides, and then here we are on the first slide someone will see, the first image. We can add new over here, and we can delete them by clicking the X. So let's go with 2 slides, and to put an image in, you just click in this white area and it'll bring up our media library. I've got 2 images in mind, and they are larger images that we've uploaded. So you can see their widths and heights are generally larger than the images that went in our blog posts. And for a slider, that's advantageous because we want full width, so we want it to stretch the whole website and not just go part of the way across the screen. Just click Insert on the right image, and that's cool. And now we can make another slide. Click on that white space, and then we're going to grab this coffee cinnamon image, and then Insert. So this number right here is going to be how long the slide lasts on the screen, and 4,000 in milliseconds just means 4 seconds. Transitions would be how the slide moves to the next slide, and just within Layer Slider WP there are 100 different settings for transitions, and you can preview them just by hovering over. That one does a nice cube movement. That would be a simple spin. And I have a lot of fun playing around with these, and depending on how you know artsy you want the site to look, or what sort of style You can choose pretty much whatever you want. We'll keep the default settings for now. And then I'm just going to go down and click Save Changes. Make sure to stay on this page while you do that. So if we go to the website, we'll see even though we made a slider, nothing's showing up. So we actually have to put it in right here. To do that, head over to All Sliders. We can see Home Slider right here and the short code. So let's copy that code by highlighting this text and then Control C. This one is just another one I made earlier on just to play around a bit. And then to install it, go to, and by install I mean just to put it in, go over to Appearance Widgets. And then there's an area called Home Slider right here. So in our available widgets, you'll see a Layer Slider WP widget. Just click there and then add it to the slider, add it to the Home Slider area. And you might be able to put this slider in other locations, but it'll definitely look good in Home Slider. And then click the drop down and choose the slider we want. We'll go with no title and save. And let's see how it looks. Refresh the page. And there we have a nice image slider with 2 images and automatic transitions. Over here in the corner, you can see how long the slide's going to last. It's sort of a counter. And if we hover over the image, it actually pauses and then keeps going, and then it'll pause again. So that's looking pretty good. But let's say we don't want these controls down here because they don't really go with the vibe of our site. So then we would go back to Layer Slider WP, edit, and in global settings we can change the skin, which is the outside portion of our slider. And maybe let's go with no skin. I'm also going to show you one feature, which is how to put images over the pictures. Sometimes on fancier websites, you'll see them having images float in, or buttons that say things like check out our projects, or subscribe here, or learn more about this artist or this program. And I'll show you the basic technology behind how that works. So in your slides, let's do this on slide 2. Just scroll down to layers, which will go on top of the original image. And then to create a layer, you can use a couple different features. And we want to go with an image. So click on that white space, just click right here. And it brings up the images we've uploaded. And maybe I want something like the empty star. So we'll just insert it. And you can see a preview right here of how it'll appear. And now let's just style this out a little bit. This all probably looks a bit confusing, but not to worry. So duration will be how long the slide lasts on the page. And we can also set a delay, which will make the image come up first, the background image, and then this image. So I'm going to delay it by 1,000 milliseconds, or 1 second. I'm going to make it last for 2,000 milliseconds. And then when it transitions out, I'm going to let that go for 1,000. So collectively that's 4,000. And if you remember, that's how long the slides are lasting on the page. That's how long that little circle takes to complete itself. So that's kind of cool. We can also select how it comes into the screen, and I'll do slide from the right, and we can select how it goes out. So I'm going to do slide to bottom. And to make it interesting, I'll set a little rotation on the images, and we'll see how that looks. If you wanted to make the image smaller, we could just go over to Style, and we can give it a width of maybe 20% and a height of 20%, and it sort of goes to the overall percentage width and height of the background image. Because that looks a little scrunched, we'll just leave that blank. Obviously play around as you like, and right here is where we would link the image to one of our pages. So I'm actually going to link it to our blog page by right-clicking, copying the link address, and then I'll just put it in right here. And we could select blank to open in a new window, or self will open the link in the same window. So we'll keep it on that and save changes. And let's see how it looks. Refresh. And then once our new image comes in, there's our star, and it goes out to the bottom. So it didn't do that little spin we wanted, and that's because I actually put the rotation on the transition out. So I want that to rotate on the entrance. There's our star, and it disappears, and the next image comes up. So that's looking nice, and we can move on. If we did want to make the slider bigger or smaller, you can just change the settings right here and save. And you'll notice the slider now takes up less of the screen, which could be nice. And of course, it's all responsive. So as the browser shrinks, so will the image slider, and so will the images within the slider, including our star. Now it's time to put in some testimonials to show visitors to the site that people have used it and that we're social proof. We already wrote this in, so let's put the testimonials in right here in this region. Click over to Testimonials in the dashboard, and then Add New. The avatar is actually what we want to focus on, because that's the image that'll show up and that we can hover over to see what someone says about the website. So if for some reason the browse isn't functioning, not sure why, but to get that image in there, you can just go over to Media, We'll open that in a new tab. And then we're going to pull in some images of people. And I've already got them on my desktop right here. So let's grab Bill Gates, Anderson Cooper, Ellen DeGeneres, and Leonardo DiCaprio. I've also sized those to 128 by 128 because that size will look good in the testimonials box. To insert the avatar, you just need the link, which is right here in file URL. So you'll copy that and then pop it in right here. Then you'll write out the name and the broadcaster, and I'm not positive on this, but we'll go with that for now. And this is just the link of the theme company, Theme Junkie, so we don't need to change that for now, but we do need to write what Anderson Cooper said. So his testimonial is going to be just like that. And I don't think we need a name, but just in case, let's do Anderson Says, and then publish. And let's make a couple more, and then we'll check it out on the website. Cool stuff. So it's time to get the testimonial section complete. Right here, here's Anderson Cooper saying that he loves the site and he's going to talk about it on the news. But it'll look better with more images in this area. To put those in, we'll just need to do the same thing. Grab Bill Gates' file URL and then insert in a new avatar. Bill Gates works at Microsoft, and he says that I'm going to invest billions because and then check this out. So if we actually put those tags around it, like then we'll have an interesting copyright effect. Call it Bill Says and publish. Once we hit that brown publish button, it'll of course appear on our website right next to Mr. Cooper. I bet those two are pals. And you can see that we deleted out the words I can over here. So that's kind of like if you were thinking of saying one thing but you actually said something else because it sounded better. You kind of create that sort of effect on the words. A couple more testimonials in there. We'll click Add New. It's time for Ellen to join the party. So let's grab her file URL. I'm sure you're getting the picture by now. Paste that in. DeGeneres, right? Almost. And some text for the testimonial. lastly, our title. Publish. And refresh. Once we refresh our new mobile responsive site, Ellen shows up. And the cool thing is, if I don't hover over any of them, the website will automatically scroll through the testimonials. You can see on the right the quotes cycle through, as does the title and the company, as do their faces. So that's really cool. Our site's looking more social proof now because we have pictures of people that everyone can recognize and even a personalized quote that they could have personally said. Social proof is going to be really important, especially on a new website where your brand is in its first stages and it's just being conceived. You really need to show people that others have been there before them and that you've gotten some reviews. And there's no shame in asking directly to people to get those in your site. We're going to leave out Leonardo DiCaprio and move on. So layer slider is done. Testimonials are done. To personalize our copyright section.
Yeah, so to change the footer copyright section right here, these words that are good to include on any site for formality, we go to our dashboard and we're going to go into the code section. To get there, we'll click on Appearance Editor. Now this is where all our files that basically compose the entire website live. So you only want to edit this very selectively and only if you know what you're doing. But we do. So I'm going to click on Footer and then scroll down to this section, and we have two P brackets, which means paragraph or text, and a bunch of interesting PHP code that basically composes these words right here. So I'm going to change that right now. I'll keep this and copy right here because that actually gets transformed into the copyright symbol. Kind of cool. Or you could just paste a copyright symbol in, copy it, that sort of thing. And it looks like we were given a couple links here from our WordPress theme by Theme Junkie. So let's edit that a little bit. I am actually going to delete. Well, before I delete anything, I'm going to copy the whole file, and then I'm actually going to put it in a new sticky. So you should do that if you have a Mac. If you have a Windows, just put it in a blank text file. That way, if we mess up anything, like if we delete a bracket or something and the whole theme kind of goes haywire, then we'll have a backup just to paste in, and we won't have to find where we made a mistake. But I don't think we're going to make a mistake. So just delete that, and then I'm going to write copyright Toasty Brew 2014. Alright, Productions. And then I'm going to give any visitor to the site a little link over to Theme Junkie, and that will be an affiliate link. So I'll earn a small commission if you or if someone clicks that and then buys a theme at Theme Junkie. Not a big deal, but just wanted to let you know that, and I'll also show you how to set up an affiliate link right now. Yeah, that looks good. And so to make the link, you basically just, first we need to get the link. So I'm going to go over to Theme Junkie, and this is what their dashboard looks like. So you'd probably visit their homepage. They're a really smart provider. I just like the feel of them a lot. So yeah, check them out. And then if you're a member, you'll have a dashboard like that with the star and the logo. And I'll log in, and then I have to find. So if I wanted to download the theme, like we did earlier on, you just click on the floppy disk icon. But I am a member of the affiliate program, so I want to grab a text link that will go to the theme that we use, which is called Company, and it is all the way down here. So to get the text link from Theme Junkie's affiliate program, just click on that, and then this is the link we want. It's just the part inside of this. So I'm actually going to copy the whole link. Control A, Control C, close, and then we'll put that link right here. So that's set up. An affiliate link always has some tracking information like this, so not too complicated, but it appears as just this text in between the A tags. That's how it'll show up on the website once the code is generated. And I am going to actually take all this text that we wrote and Control X and then Control Paste. So that is the link text now. And to open it in a new window, you just write out target equals underscore blank. And then we can update the file, and we'll refresh toastybrew.com to see what we have created down here. So that's how to edit the footer area and create a footer link, and also make an affiliate link in the footer. So that's kind of cool, and if you want to join an affiliate program, there are thousands of them on the web. You have to pick the right one for your needs, but you can also often become an affiliate of the theme that you're using. So kind of cool, and a way for the theme to pay for itself. Alright, so what else do we have on our to-do list? We want to put an Adsense ad in, which is another neat way for you to generate revenue with the new responsive website. There's no reason you shouldn't be earning a bit of money, and this can help you keep doing what you love doing even more and getting better at it. So to put an Adsense ad in, you just go to adsense.com, and this is going to go to my dashboard because I'm a member of Adsense. And once we're here, we can see I've earned 3 cents today, and I'm going to go over to my ads and then just get this ad, which was for a blog post I wrote a while back. You could also click new ad unit and go through a couple steps, but once you make an ad and Adsense approves it as active, you will get this get code feature, and this size is all going to be fine for what we want right here. So just get code, and then you don't need to know what any of this really means. You just copy it, and then we'll go back to our WordPress site and go to the dashboard, and then we're going to go to widgets, and I'm going to put it in the sidebar. So when someone is on one of our blog posts, like Grass Splash, they will see the ad in the sidebar region right over here, which is a good place to Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to put that in a blog post. Grass Splash was a portfolio item. So maybe on baking. So someone would see the ad over here. So let's do that. To create a new sidebar item, just click Add Widget and then paste the code in. You could title it if you want, like Google Ad. Usually people can tell what's going on, so you don't need to. And then just save, and then we can see what we just put in. So the ad is right here. It's not showing up. If an ad doesn't show up, it's either because Google hasn't approved you as a member of their Adsense program, which hopefully they will do quickly, or because in our case we have an ad blocker running. So I'm gonna exclude Toasty Brew because it's a website I trust, and then I think our ad will show up. Alright, there we go. There's our ad. It's a little bit big, so we actually could have chosen a smaller ad unit over in Adsense, but not a big deal. And I am going to leave this up, of course, and leave up the whole site so that it can stand as a good resource for anyone who wants to build a WordPress site or a responsive WordPress site. And yep, that's an Adsense ad. So depending on your content, Adsense will give you, Google will give you anywhere from $1 to $20 when someone clicks it. Depending on your type of content, you'll get probably lesser amounts of money for a coffee site than if you had a financial blog or maybe an auto blog where the landing page was more lucrative, like where someone would go to a site and potentially spend a good chunk of money, then the advertiser would be willing to pay more and you would get a piece of that money. So that is Adsense, and hopefully it's a great way for you to earn revenue with your site. So it's worth noting that Adsense doesn't approve every website into their campaign anymore because they get a lot of signups from basic blogs and even some sites that are less credible. So having a WordPress website will ensure you quicker access into the program as opposed to using something like Tumblr or Blogger or Weebly or Wix or one of those things. So hopefully you're in good hands and hopefully you get to try that out. So on our to-do list we have one more item, which is to include some footer links, and I'm going to show you a neat trick on how to do that. Let's go to New Post up here and clear out some browser tabs, and we're going to write out a list of the links on our site. We're going to do the links from the navigation so that if someone is down here on your website, then they can just click over really easily, and I think that's good for user experience. So I'll just write them out. And you could do this for any links on your site, like your posts or your portfolio items or whatever you want, really. But we can get the link by right-clicking and copying the link address, and then we are just going to link by clicking link right there. Each one of them. You can see this A tag again, which is just the HTML code that creates a link. Pretty simple. And I'm going to do that for all of our pages. And do it for blog. And features. There we go. And lastly, contact. And here is, so we should also do that for home. So here's where the fun part comes in. So if we go to the visual editor and we'll see what we just created, we can highlight it and make a list. Let's do a bulleted list, and that'll look good in the footer because it's got those nice little bullets by them, which is, it's a lot easier to do it like that than to write out these little individual pieces of code. And then I'll write navigation right here and wrap that in an H2 tag. An H2 tag will just style some font here, like bold or whatever font family we have as the H2 setting in our theme. And looks like we are good to go with this list. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to put it in a widget just like we did that Adsense ad. So what we're also learning here is that the WordPress new post editor is a really good sort of sandbox to create different items for our site because we get this neat visual and HTML editor. So that's going to be useful for a lot of different features as you get used to WordPress, and you should certainly make the most of the new post editor as I do. So we need a widget. We can actually just trash this. And we're going to set up a new widget, and that's going to go in the footer, and I believe that will be footer column 3, but we'll take a look. Text widget again, which will basically mimic exactly what we create in the new post editor, and then save it. But I want it in the footer, so I'm going to drag it over here, and then let's see where it ended up. And there it is, right there. And if we click on any of these links, we will go right to the page. Now it does look a little bit empty down here because this is the only item up in our footer, which is above the copyright section. But I would recommend you go ahead and fill in this area with some more interesting stuff, maybe like a schedule or a map, or an advertisement, or really whatever you want. So that's pretty cool. You can make really good use of your footer to help the user get around and also to brand your new responsive website. So folks, that brings us to the end of the tutorial. You now know how to use WordPress, the platform that all the Fortune 500 companies are using to make a fully responsive website, and you can go ahead and set it up at your own leisure and jump around the video to learn how to create everything from this image slider to the features, to the portfolio stuff and more, and how to put it on a website, and all the other things too, like how to make a logo and a menu. And again, it's all completely responsive to mobile. So to prove that, I'm going to give you a little tool called Screenfly. And what this tool does is let you see exactly how the website looks on pretty much every different mobile layout. Things like iPads, Surfaces, Androids, iPhones. So to test it out, we can put our URL into this little window and then just click go, and it's all completely free, which is awesome. And then it'll show you the width of the screen over here, and you can even click on it right through this little viewer. And I like going to mobile, and you can see the array of options, pretty diverse set here. So this is how our site would look on the BlackBerry 8300, and this is how it would look on a iPhone 5, which is pretty cool. As you can see, the site even has settings for a television, a 1080p television, which I actually did not even think of testing at first, but with Screenfly, this really cool resource lets you test it, so you're 100% sure your site looks good on every sort of screen in the world. So I hope you had fun with this tutorial. I hope that you can post a comment and click like and even share the video on social media. That would be a huge help. And if you have any questions at all on the things we have just built, then just drop a comment. I am pretty new to YouTube, but I really hope to make more videos, and I hope that they're useful and aren't completely boring, and then we can all just learn a lot more about WordPress and about websites in general. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Really appreciate it, and make sure to post a comment and click like, because that would be a really big help. Alright, thanks so much.